Hello, everyone, and welcome to this hands-on lab on Amazon Bedrock, model customization and distillation using synthetic data generation. These are some reference URLs that I've mentioned over here. I would certainly recommend that you visit these URLs as they have additional information on this particular topic. I have also created a playlist on my channel for Amazon Bedrock. As I create additional tutorials and labs, I will have them added to this particular playlist. Both the reference URLs as well as URL to the playlist will be mentioned in the description of this video. Prerequisites for this particular lab is knowledge of Amazon Bedrock model customization. Hence, if you do not understand how this works, please refer to this overview tutorial that I had created some time back. The URL to the tutorial is mentioned right here at the bottom. It will also be mentioned in the description of this video. Now, in short, there are three ways of model customization using Amazon Bedrock. First is distillation, second is fine-tuning, and third is continued pre-training. I will not be getting into the details of these methods. If you want to understand how these methods work, please refer to this overview tutorial. In our lab today, we will be focusing on model distillation. Scenario for our lab today. Model distillation uses synthetic data from a large foundation model that acts as a teacher to fine-tune a small model that acts as a student. So what are we going to do in this lab? In this lab, we are going to generate some prompt response pairs of scientific explanations and diverse topics using Amazon Q. Then we are going to select a teacher model to generate synthetic data using these prompt response pairs and fine-tune a student model, preferably from the same family as the teacher. And by doing this, we will develop a smaller, faster, and a more cost-effective distilled student model for answering scientific questions concisely. So I hope the scenario is absolutely clear. The first thing that we are going to do is create these prompt response pairs. And these prompt response pairs are primarily going to be for scientific explanations. Okay, so that's the use case that we are taking. Now, let's say you could have prompt response pairs for something else. Could be for, let's say, financial knowledge, could be for healthcare, depending upon whatever use case you have. I'm just keeping it very simple. We are going to create prompt response pairs using Q for scientific explanations. Then we are going to use these pairs with a teacher model to generate synthetic data. And that synthetic data will be used to fine-tune a student model from the same family. And finally, after this, we will have a smaller, faster, and a more cost-effective distilled student model for answering scientific questions. Hopefully, I went through it again and this should be crystal clear now. One thing to keep in mind, this is very important, that once you have created your distilled model, you must purchase provision throughput to use it. Now, this is as of today while I am recording this video, and today is 14th of June, 2025. This may change tomorrow. So go on the AWS website and check. You can go back to the console also and check. But right now, when I'm recording, in order to use your distill model, you will be required to purchase provision throughput. A couple of things to keep in mind before we proceed further along. I will be using either North Virginia or Oregon regions to do this lab. And these regions support the foundational models used in this lab. Now you are free to use any region of your choice. We will be using Nova Pro and Nova Lite models. Again, you can change your region. You can even change your model to your choice. But if you use another foundation model, Please ensure that it is supported in your region. And most importantly, every single time you use a model, check its pricing. Otherwise, you will get a nice, lovely bill from AWS. And I don't want anybody to get burnt. Most importantly, this is the most important thing. Ensure that you delete and release all resources after this lab is complete. Because some of the services and the resources used in this lab can be very expensive. So this is a discipline that you have to maintain. So let's get started. So the first thing that we are going to do is create two S3 buckets. Now, these are the names that I'm going to use. You can give any name that you like. So let me go to the console. This is the console right here. This is S3. And we will be creating these two buckets. So let me copy the names of these buckets. Now you can again use any name that you like. I'm just going to copy paste it from here. So create bucket, general purpose, give the bucket name, scroll down and click on this create bucket. Perfect. Now let's create another bucket, and instead of input, this time we will give output. So basically what we are creating is one input bucket and one output bucket. So let's scroll down and click on create bucket. So essentially we have completed step 1. We have created an input bucket for our prompts and an output bucket for the results. So we have created these through S3 buckets. Step 2. Now remember that we need to create the prompt response pair. So what we are going to do is we are going to copy a sample record from this particular link, and then we are going to remove all spaces and make that compact JSON sample ready to be used further for creation of additional records. Now, this particular link will also be mentioned in the description of this video. It's part of the AWS documentation, so you should be able to easily find it as well. I actually have this link open right here. So this is the link. And here we have a sample record. So let me copy this record. And after I copy this record, I'm going to use jsonformatter.org. Now you could use any JSON formatter or editor of your choice. This is a free tool that is available. And what we are going to do is we are going to copy our sample record over here. And okay, it's telling me that there is an error with this JSON. So it seems there's an extra curly brace. So Amazon documentation, this sample is incorrect. There's an extra brace over here at the end. So please delete that brace. And now I think, let me tell it to validate the JSON. I think this should be good. Is it good? I think it's good. Okay, why is this not going? Validate the JSON. Okay, I think it should be good. Now what we are going to do is we are going to make this JSON compact. So minify or compact. Let's go ahead. And this is the compact version. So essentially what we have done is we have removed all the formatting and all the spaces from this. We're going to copy this. And let me see if I have my notepad open. No, I do not. So I'm going to open my notepad. And paste it right here. Okay, so this is our sample. Our sample is ready now. So essentially we have completed step 2. Step 3. Now we are going to prepare our training data set for distillation. So what we will be doing is we will be using the free version of Amazon Q developer. We will be giving this prompt along with our sample data. This is the same sample that we just copied from AWS documentation and removed all the spaces. And we will be telling Q to create additional prompt response pairs using this particular sample. So the prompt that we are going to give is create additional scientific examples without JSON spacing using the below example for Amazon Bedrock distillation job using Nova Pro. Remember, we are telling it for which model as a teacher and Nova Light as the student. And this is the example. So let me actually go over here and copy this particular prompt. So copy, and I'm going to paste it right here. Let us review it again because there are a couple of grammatical mistakes that I have made. So create additional scientific examples without JSON spacing using the below example for Amazon Bedrock distillation job for an Amazon Bedrock distillation job using Nova Pro, okay, as this should be as the teacher and Nova Light as a student. Example, this is the example. Now what we are going to do is we are going to put this example in double quotes. So I'm adding double quotes over here. So it knows that this is where the example starts and this is where the example ends. So we are going to take this. So this is the final prompt. We are going to copy it. Now let's go to our console. This is our console right here. And this is Q. This is the free version of Q, by the way. And I'm going to paste this right here and hit enter. So now we will wait patiently for it to understand our prompt. And there it is. It has already started. Here are some scientific examples without JSON spacing for an Amazon Bedrock distillation job using Cloud 3 Sonnet or Nova Pro as the teacher and Cloud 3 Haiku or Nova Light as the student. Okay. So how many samples did it create? Is it still working? So it created one, so I'm going to copy this. Okay, still creating. So if something like this happens, wherein you get a half-baked or a half an example, it's because it's still generating it. Okay, so delete this. We will have to wait for it to finish generating. It's still generating. For some reason, it's pretty slow. So I will be patient and we will have to wait for it to generate the whole example. Okay, and guys, be patient. As you see, this can take some time. Okay, so it has finished. It is still generating. There you go. So it's finished creating one. So let's go over here. And I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove our sample. I'm going to copy this sample from here. This is an example sample record that it has created. And remember that we are looking for scientific questions. That is our theme. That is our use case. So now let's see what it has created. So why do leaves change color in the fall? Wow, that's a nice question. Next one. Next one is how do rainbows form? Okay, that's not bad. What's the third one? So the third one is we have what causes earthquakes? So great, it is asking some nice scientific questions. Something that kids typically would be inquisitive about. So that's a good thing. Next one is how do aeroplanes fly? So we have four. Now let's copy the The fifth one is still working on the fifth one. So let's copy the fifth one. Oh, this didn't come out very well. So let me delete this. Okay, so let me copy the fourth one. So one, two, three, fourth. Fourth one again. Okay. Why is the ocean salty? Not bad. Now let's copy the fifth one over here. So similarly, you can create additional samples for yourself. So I'll be basically waiting for it to create additional samples. Let's see what it has created this time around. So what makes lightning? Okay, not bad. So if we have about, I think we have about 4 or 5 samples over here, which should be good. And let's see how many samples it's going to create. So this will require a certain amount of patience. How do vaccines work? So I'm going to copy this one over here. How do vaccines work? Next one is what makes lightning? I think we probably have that. Next one is how do magnets work? Okay, let's copy this one. And finally, what do we have? Oh, what is the question? Why do we have seasons? This is a good one as well. So let's copy this. Then we have how do plants grow? So let's copy this one. And we have one more. I think the question is what causes tides? So some scientific questions. I don't I think it's doing a pretty good job of creating all these scientific questions, right? So here is another one. How do computers store data? Which is not bad. So some general knowledge scientific questions, which is a good thing. Why do we dream? Okay. So Q is doing a pretty good job of generating these questions. Next one we have is how do black holes form? Okay. And finally we have, I think we have, oh wow, it's created a whole lot of them. Okay, I don't think I'll be copying all of them, but this is how you basically go about copying. I'm just going to copy one last one and then call it a day. Okay, I think it's going to continue generating a whole lot of samples. Wow, this is the last one. Okay, so I'm going to copy one more, and that's pretty much what it is. So now what is it telling us? These examples follow the exact format you provided with no extra JSON spacing. Each example contains a scientific question with concise yet informative answer, making them ideal for your Amazon Bedrock distillation job using Cloud 3 Sonnet or Noah Pro as the teacher and Cloud 3 Haiku or Noah Lite as the student. So I think it's done a pretty good job. So we have essentially completed these 2 steps. Now what do we need to do? For Nova Pro, we need to have at least 100 records for it to basically for the job to consider your file for processing. And you can actually use MS Excel to count if you have 100 records and ensure that you have 100 or more records. And once we have 100 records, then we are going to copy it in our input data.jsonl file. So I am basically going to copy all these records, go to Excel, open a blank book over here, and paste these right here. So how many records do we have? We have 15. Okay, not bad. Let's copy them. And then we basically will paste these records. And now we have 30, which is good. And we basically copy these again. And we have 60. And we have, now how many do we have? We have about 90. And now we have about 120 records. Not bad. So I'm going to copy all these 120 records. Control C and go back to my notepad, delete everything, paste these right here, and basically save this particular file as a JSON file. So go to my Bedrock, all files, and call this input data.jsonl. Okay, so our input file is ready. So we have finished these steps. We have more than 100 records, and we have created our input data.jsonl file. Now we will upload this file to S3 in our input bucket. So this is our input bucket. Let's get rid of queue. We don't need queue anymore. Upload, add files. This is our input data.jsonl file. Open and upload it right here. So we have uploaded a file successfully. So this step is complete. Next step, step number 5. Over here, we need to create a model distillation job. So we will be going to foundation models, and under foundation models, go to custom models. So let me go over here, go to Bedrock. Okay, where is Bedrock? Foundation models. And under foundation models, you will see custom models. And over here, we will create a distillation job. So click on create distillation job. So what will we do here? We will basically provide a distill model name and a job name and select the teacher model as Nova Pro. Okay, so what should we give? Say NAM. I'm going to give NAM distill model. Job name is my distillation job. Okay. Our teacher model is going to be Nova Pro. Now, remember that when we generated our prompt response pairs, we basically told Q that, hey, we are going to create a distillation job using Amazon Bedrock, using Nova Pro as a teacher and Nova Lite as a student. So let's select those models. So our teacher model should be Nova Pro, and a student model should be Nova Lite. Try to stick to the same models. If you change the models, just go back to Q and then again in your prompt, give the corresponding model name. So that way the prompt response pairs are generated as per that particular model. Synthetic data generation, max response length. We are basically telling, the influence parameters over here. So I'll just keep this as default 4096 and scroll down. Now distillation input data set, directly upload data set in JSONL to a S3 location. So let's go ahead, go to browse, go to our input bucket. This is our JSONL file, choose the file. And we will also need an output bucket for storing our output matrix. So let's go over here. This is our output bucket, choose, and we are good to go. We'll keep the VPC settings as default. We will be creating a new service role. So whatever role name you want to give. So say I'm going to say what? Not my Bedrock service. My distillation job role. And copy this particular role name. I'm just going to paste it somewhere here so that I remember to delete this particular role at the end. And again, it is basically giving us basically a warning or information. Purchase provision throughput to use distilled model. Once you create your distilled model, you must purchase provision throughput to use it. Okay. So now if everything is good, which I believe it does look like, and we have given all the details, Let's go ahead and click on create distill job. So let me just go back over here. We have completed all these points all the way until here. And finally, click on create distill job. So if everything is okay, it will go ahead and validate our JSON file and then basically have our job scheduled. So let's go ahead and click on this. Okay, this form will be automatically submitted once the IM role is created. Okay, so it's working at this time. Be patient, okay? This is going to take some time. It will also depend on, how busy the AWS servers are. And once your job is scheduled, it will take some time for it to be executed. So you will have to wait for your turn. And there it is. So our distillation job has been created successfully. Once the distillation job creates successfully, the model will be available in the models table. So where is that? So here, our job, this is our job, okay? And it's in progress, as you see, it's in progress. And once this job completes successfully, then under models, we will be able to see our model. So I think our model name was NAM distillation model, if I'm not wrong. So that model will be visible over here once the job completes successfully. Now, this job is going to take some time. It's not going to be that fast. So be very patient. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the recording over here. And once the job is complete, then I will resume the recording. So I will be back in a few minutes. So finally, our job has completed. As you can see, the status over here is complete. And our custom distilled model is ready. So if I go to models, you will be able to see your custom distilled model right here. Now remember that if you want to use this custom distilled model, you will need to purchase provision throughput. In my case, it took almost a little over an hour for this job to finish. So please be patient. It takes a while to kind of complete these jobs. Okay, so let's look at it. So these are the different statistics. This is the teacher model. This is the student model. And the validation, data processing, training, everything is complete. So you can see it started at 1856 and it finished, I believe, at 2057. So yeah, a little, not quite more than that. So 1856, almost 7 o'clock. And it finished at 2057. So quite a bit of time actually. Yeah, enough for me to go and have my dinner and come back. Any which way. So this is a location of the inputs. This is the location of the outputs. You can go and check the outputs over there. And yes, this is how you go about creating your own custom distilled model. So again, over here, if you see, it gives you an option to purchase provision throughput. I am doing this purely for learning purposes. And I believe most of you who are watching this video will be doing it for learning purposes. So for learning purposes, please do not purchase provision throughput. Yes, if you are doing this in your organization, in a production environment, or somewhere where you need to go ahead and purchase provision throughput, then do go ahead and purchase it, right? But otherwise, do not purchase the provision throughput. This is how your model is there. You can purchase it anytime and then start using it. So I hope that this lab was helpful. Do post your comments. And this is it from me today. Thank you so much. Remember to release all the resources and delete the model as well. And thank you very much for watching this video. I will see you shortly. Till then, take care. Bye bye.